What's up, peoples? All right, we are done with the Wasteland Survival Guide, finally. Got a few extra points of damage resistance under my belt with my Survival Guru perk. Come in handy later. All right, what I'm going to do now, loosely, I'm not committing myself to this now, mind you. We are playing Fallout. I could get distracted on my way from point A to point B. In fact, I can be seeing my objective and still get distracted and wind up going off and doing things for like 10 hours before I get back. You know, before I do that, I could just do this, which leads to that, and that. Next thing you know, you're level 25, and you've done everything but what you were about to go do, right? Okay, I'm definitely prone to fits of that. But what I plan on doing here is, notice I fast traveled to the scrapyard. This is the closest place to, I think this place is actually called Bethesda. And this is where the Lockpick Boble Head is. Go grab that, since I'm right here. It'll come in handy. And then I pretty much stop sinking points into Lockpick now and start putting points into things that I might actually want, you know, to use aside from just opening safes. Get over here and grab this, and then I'm going to start making my way north. I think we'll go through Canterbury Commons and go do the whole superhero showdown in the middle of the streets. That's just hilarious. I mean, a playthrough of Fallout 3 would not be complete without going to Canterbury and dealing with the Mechanist and the Antagonizer. Yes. It's one of those just random things you come across in the Wasteland that just makes the world unique. Really adds a lot of flavor to the game, in my opinion. Stuff like that. Man, I hope they bring it back in Fallout 4. Speaking of Fallout 4, guess what? Guess what today is? It's Hump Day! No, today is the Bethesda E3 showcase tonight. And I think this is their thing that's like apart from the actual E3 itself. This is like their own personal showcase. This is like their spotlight on me type thing where we've got something big to talk about. And of course, we know it's going to be Fallout 4, right? I mean, they've said as much, but that's tonight, okay? In fact, as I edit this, in fact, this video will probably be up shortly before the showcase starts airing. It'll be on Twitch and whatever else, but I plan on catching at least parts of it myself. Of course, I'm sure a lot of you already have your window on Twitch up and are tuned in to get your front row seat, right? Or else you're doing this, you're either watching this or you're playing Fallout 3 or New Vegas for yourself to kind of take the edge off. This is definitely good to have this to fall back on while we kind of try to deal with the withdrawals, Fallout withdrawals, waiting for Fallout 4 to come out, right? But I'm sure that's a lot of the reason why a lot of you guys are even tuned in is just to get a fix of Fallout, waiting for some news on Fallout 4 and waiting for Fallout 4 to come out, right? Speaking of that, you know, what I'm going to do is most likely stream some Fallout 3 just right before Fallout 4 release. Like I say, just to take the edge off. I'm going to need it for myself, and hopefully some of you guys would enjoy hanging out on that stream. I don't stream really regular, but it's usually through midday into the evening, sometimes into the morning. Sometimes the stream sessions wind up being 12, 16 hours. You know, if I'm playing, well, might as well play, right? Screw it. But I plan on doing a playthrough similar to this, although in that one, I plan on going and getting my infiltrator or my perforator much earlier than I have here. I like having it because it's my favorite gun in the game. It's a way to aim down the sights in Fallout 3, basically. I mean, you're still using a scope. It's very similar to this right here. They use basically the same mechanic, but it's an assault rifle. So you get to actually, you know, lay down some lead and fire off some rounds. But it's still a way to at least sort of aim down the sights, and that's something I think Fallout 3 is really sorely missing. For you PC guys, that would, if I was playing PC, that would be the first mod I get is aim down the sights, honestly. But it's a way to do that in the game, makes it much better for me. I would normally have it by now, but we went ahead and did the Wasteland Survival Guide first. So what I'm going to do here is, as soon as I get this Lockpick Boble Head, start working my way north. We can get through Canterbury Commons just for funds, right? Just for the experience. And then I'll probably make my way straight north of there and go to the Republic of Dave. I'm not going to go through that whole storyline there, but essentially Dave has his own republic, which is a farm area, fenced-in farm area that's about, 20-foot square? And him and his several girlfriends, and I think they're in serious danger of inbreeding here shortly. But yeah, the Republic of Dave is him and his few wives have got a republic, and they're going to take over the whole wasteland about 1 square foot at a time, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, he's got his own republic, and he's the president of the Republic of Dave. And everyone votes for President Daddy because they're like either his wife or his kids, everyone that lives there or something. It's totally ridiculous. But the perception of Bobblehead is sitting in the schoolhouse, and so I'm going to go there for that. I plan on grabbing most, if not all, of the bobbleheads, at least during this playthrough. If we don't grab them specifically, we'll at least see where they are. But I don't see any reason not to go get them while we're there, right? And then I think we'll head straight to the pit. Now, I mean, in my whole, while I'm at it, I might as well do this frame of mind type of thinking, which usually gets me into trouble and has me at level 25 before I ever even get around to doing what I initially planned on doing. Yeah, I do the same thing in Skyrim and Oblivion and other games. But what we could also do, honestly, is Oasis, which is right there where you start the pit. Also, the Endurance, Explosives, and Big Guns bobbleheads are all within shouting distance of one another. And don't actually account for a lot of XP grabbing them. Now, Oasis does, because you basically have to finish the whole Oasis quest and take care of Herald the Tree and stuff. We're going to do that one way or the other. Either before we go to the pit or right after. But there's a damage resistance perk you can get there. And there's also actually a hidden bobblehead. It comes in the form of a teddy bear that you get from little Yew. Y-E-W. She's named after a tree. Like, everyone there is named after, like, a tree or a branch or a twig or something. But she gives you a bobblehead if you... I think you have to pass a speech check with her or something or another. But it gives you plus 10 to speech. So even though it's a teddy bear, it's still essentially a bobblehead. It's like a hidden bobblehead. And then you have the speech bobblehead itself at Paradise Falls, which you'll eventually get. I'll probably be working for the Slavers because I'll eventually want to get Veronica as a follower. Maybe, maybe not. Yeah, probably so. She's like my favorite follower. Just because she's very cool. But we'll stop to get her, grab the bobblehead there. Anyway, lots of bobbleheads still to go. And I could grab quite a few of them before we even head to the pit, but I could keep saying that until, like I say, I'm level 25, and we haven't even started the main quest yet, so at some point, got to get all that done. And so what I plan on doing, anyway, is working my way north from here, grab the Perception, then we'll head straight west, and then we'll start the pit, get all that so I can get my Infiltrator and at least play through part of the game with my favorite gun, and maybe start the main story, and then do some things along the way. Like, there's some other stuff that we can get done. You got the Underworld, you got Riley's Rangers, you got, oh geez, let me think. You name it. Lots of stuff we can do. Go to the National Archives, get the Declaration of Independence. Alright, anyway. Alright, so it's kind of roughly mapped out what I plan on doing. Isn't it amazing with this game? You can do 1,000 playthroughs and like none of them will be the same. There'll be little differences, not just in the way you play and the guns you use and the armor you wear and blah blah blah, but the order you do things, and doing things in a particular order can like make a huge difference sometimes. Like sometimes I'll be saying, hey, I could go over and do this right now, and I'll forget that there's, I don't know, like a certain door to unlock that requires 75 lockpick, and I'll be like, oh shit, I'm only like level 4. I can't unlock that, and it'll be like crucial to completing that quest or something. Little things like that. And so you wind up doing certain things in different orders just to see, and it's pretty cool. Each playthrough is unique. Hey, so with this whole E3 showcase thing tonight, I want to make a prediction before it comes out. Like I say, I'm editing this before it happens. I'm kind of wondering if I'm not going to be right in this. We'll see. Y'all can call me on it, whether I'm right or wrong. But I think it may be possible that along with showcasing Fallout 4, which is that may be all that they do. They may not even talk about anything else. I mean, this is worthy of several hours of gameplay and discussion and reveals and things like that. So I'm totally down with it if this is all they want to talk about. But I do have a sneaky suspicion that they may actually be revealing a new IP, and there's absolutely nothing to make me believe this except the fact that not only do they have their own showcase, and they're going to talk about something really, really big, and Fallout 4 in and of itself justifies the showcase, so don't get me wrong in that, but I think that it might be possible that they might have a complete surprise for us. And, I'll say they were so CIA, super espionage, KGB about Fallout 4 for the last year or two. I mean, to where you didn't even have employees come out breaking the non-disclosure agreement. And the few quote-unquote leaks of all the ones that haven't been proved already to be complete bullshit, the one or two that might be halfway legit seem to be at least in part bullshit. All right, and so the lid that they kept on Fallout 4 for the period of time that they kept, it's amazing to me. I mean, they've got some loyal employees for no one to come out and, I mean, supposedly there was one disgruntled employee that quote unquote got fired and got pissed about it and said all this and that. And some of the projections actually turned out to be true. Other ones have turned out to not be true. And some of it sounds like complete bullshit. That brings up one thing in particular. Wow, I almost died right there. Yeah, leveled just in time. But, one thing in particular that does actually worry me is the set protagonist. You have to play a male character and you're going to have a set storyline for that. That's scary to me. First of all, that touches an open nerve. Is the team that was in place for Fallout 3 and Oblivion is gone. With what they did with Skyrim, and I know there's lots of Skyrim, and I'm not going to get off into the Skyrim versus any other game BS, right? There's so many people playing it now that that'd be a losing battle to try to say that it's in any way, shape, or form even a bad game. No. But compared to Oblivion, one thing that scares me, it's a pattern that I see, is in the ambience, the immersiveness, and the storylines and the storytelling of Skyrim were severely lacking. The game world itself, seeing a deer prance through the woods across, the river and flowing stream and the dark, gothic, very Nordic feel for the game, and having dragons attack you randomly. I mean, all that's badass. Gameplay-wise, it was badass. You could say the same thing about New Vegas. Adding aim down the sights and adding the hardcore mode. Gameplay-wise, it was badass. But I'm not playing Call of Duty, okay? What I'm looking for is an immersive storytelling where I feel attached to the characters in the game, good or bad, where the storylines make sense, that once I've accomplished the storyline, it serves some purpose. Like in Oblivion, for example, the Mages Guild, Thieves Guild, Fighters Guild, main story, they all kind of overlapped. Characters were relevant from the beginning of the game all the way through the end. You felt like you knew them. And when you were walking down the streets, people would say random things to you. They might repeat the same thing, sure enough, whatever, right? I mean, a computer game is a computer game. It is what it is. But the bottom line is the tone of the voice that the NPCs would use, like somebody would walk by and say, "Oh, it's you." That in and of itself just added character to the game. Then you'd have the ambient music in the background, and then any place you stepped into, you were just as likely to find some small story taking place as not. Just a random house you pop into could have some things laid out in such a certain way that it would tell its story in and of itself, and it would fit with the rest of the game world. In Skyrim, I got a lot of fetch 'em quests, where once for example, perfect example is I complete the Mage Guild quest, and I'm Archmage, and what does that mean? Well, it doesn't mean shit. Why did I do it? I don't know. What'd you do? Well, you killed some zombies. When you got tired of killing zombies, you went and killed some ghosts. And then when you were done, you're Archmage. What does that mean? You get a new place to sleep. What does that have to do with the story? Nothing? Well, what the... Really? And that type of thing, okay? And fetch 'em quests, it's, if you lack storytelling, the artistic ability to tell a creative, in-depth, immersive story, and you throw in all the character dialogue and the nuances with character NPC personalities and things like that make the story rewarding and rich to go through, then you deprive me of a lot of what I'm playing the game for. If you improve the gameplay mechanics, like now I can dual wield and playing in third person looks better and the graphics are better, and that's all great. And I sure enough, I want that. I'm not knocking that. But if the immersive experience, if I don't feel like I'm in that world, if I don't get chills when I enter into certain places and get the shivers when I complete certain quests and feel sad when certain NPCs lose a loved one and feel happy when I do this and feel a certain sense of accomplishment because the leveling system you've given me is to where there's, I actually have to stop and think about what I'm doing. I don't just throw in all my points into the skill tree that's related to what I'm doing and then I kill everything. What the fuck? There's no thought going into that, okay? What happened to the, if you spend a skill point here, then you don't have it for this. You have to make a choice. And if you pick this, then it's going to detract from that. And so to balance that out, you have to take this over here. And you need this piece of equipment to make up for the fact that you can't put a point in over here and buff your character this way and stuff like that. If I don't have to think about that, I don't have to do any of that, then character builds become unnecessary, right? And then playing through the story really becomes just a matter of just doing a bunch of fetch quests. So the immersiveness and the character building and the challenge and stuff and the difficult, I mean, it needs to be there. At least have options for it to be there. And I see a dangerous pattern of game developers leaning away from that. And so all this boils back to what I saw in the reveal and what I saw from a rumor, and I hope that it's just a complete BS rumor from somebody who didn't know what they were talking about. Although a few other things they said came true, so it worries me, and it's already kind of a raw nerve that this is kind of picking at right now, is if I have a set protagonist, if I can only play a male or female character, and I have a set storyline that I have to play through to a certain point, then this seriously going to bother me, because one of the biggest things about Bethesda games is the blank slate you start with, either the nameless hero or the hero without a past, or the hero with some past, but it's a complete blank slate. Is you going to develop, build, and play out your character exactly as you want to from start to finish. It's a completely blank canvas for you to paint on and draw whatever picture you want. If they get away from that, they're cheating me of about 90% of what I go to a Bethesda game for. I have a serious problem with that, and I can't see them making up for that. I don't want an action game. I want an RPG. I want to create my own character. It's one big reason I'm not really attracted to The Witcher. As great of a game as they say it is, and I do plan on checking it out, but it's not on my top list, is because you play a set protagonist. And that's a little linear as far as character building goes to me. Even if you have a great skill system in place and you've got lots of good crafting and all this and that, if I have to play a set character doing set things, following basically a set path, I might be able to choose between A and B, but the bottom line is I'm playing through a story. That's more like an action game to me. With a Bethesda game, I start with a blank slate and I make the character I want. Okay, now I do have a suspicion that there may be a portion of Fallout 4. This is another one of my predictions, where you play a set character, perhaps maybe getting to the vault, and you are the dad, or you are the son, or you are the brother, or you are the whoever, right? And like I say, they'll be talking about that here in a few hours, right? From where I'm talking now, so I'm just talking outside of my neck, just making predictions, but there may be a small portion of the game that you play through as a specific person, all right, that will lead to the background of where your character comes from, and hopefully that's a way to draw you into the world. If they do something like that, that's great. But the character I make at character creation, if they don't have a character creation, they might lose me. I might go get a refund. Screw that. It's just not an RPG. I want a character creation. I want to make my character. If you cheat me of that, I'd have to seriously write a letter to Bethesda with 3 letters on it. WTF. What the fuck? Seriously. Why would you, I can't believe it. So I refuse to believe it until they confirm it. And then when they do that, I might actually go get a refund, guys, and make a complete 180. I will do that. If you betray me to that extent on a game, yeah. But like I say, this is complete speculation, and this is just fear talking. This has nothing to do with what's going to happen in the game. I do think that they may include something like that, though, where you play a set protagonist for a small portion, even if it's just the tutorial section of the game. You may learn the basic game mechanics, any nuances, especially anything that they add to the game, different from Fallout 3, certain game mechanics, maybe certain button things that do different things. Maybe you can dual wield now, right? Who knows? I mean, anything. All right, so if they add something new, they would include that in the tutorial, right? I'm sure of it. All right, so perhaps during that portion of the game, you may play as a set person. It would be cool to play as the dad escaping from the house trying to make it to the vault or something like that. I saw that in the trailer. That's the only reason. That's the first thing that comes to mind. Something like that. But as far as the game itself, I better be able to create who I want, how I want, where I want, when that's got to be there. That's a staple of Bethesda games. If you take that away, you're cheating me of what I come to Bethesda games for, right? So anyway, like I say, that's just all fear and speculation, and that's going to be cleared up hopefully in the next few hours. If they leave me hanging on that point, then that's just torture. That's just cruel. I seriously hope they don't do something like that. I hope they, right off the top, I hope they jump into that. I mean, if they do what they did with Skyrim, they're going to cover gameplay mechanics, things that they've added, things that they've taken away from Fallout 3. That I don't know how much of a reference they'll make to New Vegas, because that wasn't their baby. That was an Obsidian project. They just used the skins from the Fallout 3 artists. If you notice, a lot of things look a lot alike. Fire barrels, streets, cars, buildings, it was the same skins. A lot of that was in place. It made Fallout New Vegas a lot easier to develop, right? But don't know what references they'll make to that. I hope there's some things from New Vegas that they incorporate. Aim down the sights, hardcore mode and all that, right? I hope they include all that, or at least something similar to that. But as far as references there. I don't know. But they'll definitely keep Fallout 3 in mind and show you what they've added and taken away. One mistake, well, it would be a mistake to me, that I hope they don't make with Fallout 4 is taking away repairing weapons. Keeping me in my inventory and keeping me involved with the stuff my character's using and stuff. That's a part of it that I missed in Skyrim in a big way. In Oblivion, I liked having to look for hammers and upgrade my skill just so that I could fix my enchanted weapon. You couldn't even do that until your skill was like at 50, you know? You had to work for that, and that meant you had to focus on that, and it's kind of in the back of your head, you had to specialize in it, in a sense. You know, you at least had to put some time and thought into it, and it put me in my character, you know? It brought a level of immersion for me. Some people complained about it. It was tedious, but I'll tell you what. People complain about a lot of things, and if you start catering to them, then guess what? You have a game that's not hard anymore, that doesn't require you to do anything but press one button and push your stick in a certain direction. And if that's the way all games are going, I'll eventually stop playing games. And seeing as I'm addicted to games, I'll have withdrawals and I'll die. So, keeping that in mind, I'm hoping game developers will stop with that bullshit, thinking you're going to get an extra $10 now and you're going to lose $100 later when your fan base gets sick of your weak, watered-down, mindless crap that you're putting out. You'll stop that. And so that's to all developers out there that are doing that watered down bullshit. Instead of having very hard mode, I think maybe if game developers want to do that and make a statement while they're at it, they could create noob mode. And noob mode means you don't have to ever fix your gear. You don't have to look for any weapons. You start the game with everything that's in game. Enemies have no health, so you kill them by looking at them. And if your skill tree calls for 100 skill points, you start the game with 101 skill points. And that's noob mode. All right? And so that, of course, then again, the modders would complain because that doesn't give them an excuse to mod their game and cheat their shit. So, whatever. You know, somebody's going to cry about everything no matter what you do. Bottom line is don't cater to the crying. Make your game the way you make it. Make it as hard as you want to make it. And if some people don't like it, they can piss off. You know, there'll be some people that don't like it that'll buy your game anyway, so you'll still get the money. Right? But for those that do appreciate a challenge, that appreciate an immersive game world, that appreciate something that's not so dumbed down that they still have to think every once in a while, that, you know, the people who, you know, you that graduated school with something above a kindergarten education, right? I know you can get by school now without even having to spell, you know, and read and things. But back when you still had to learn to read and spell to pass school, that same mentality and wanting to play your games, that requires at least some measure of intelligence. You know, cater to us instead, please. And let everyone catch up, you know, because you're doing everyone a favor. If you have to work for it, then it's worth something when you get it. If you just have your shit for free, right off the top, I'm one-shotting everything and I'm in God mode and I'm level 2. Or I'm 30 minutes into the game and I'm already level 368. Well, I thought the level cap was 200. But yeah, I found an exploit where I can level to 368 and my sword does 64,312 damage. Yeah, but the maximum hit points of any enemy in the game is 100. Yeah, but my sword can... Okay, you know, you haven't impressed me. You make me want to go vomit. You make me want to go taste my own breakfast. All right, you know, and for those of you that have played a game into the ground forever, and then you start, you know, doing exploits and doing funky stuff just to keep the game interesting, I'm not even talking about that, right? I'm talking about the catering to players who are getting lazier and lazier, and every time they cry for something to be taken out of a game because it might present a challenge, then the game developers say, oh, they might not buy our game if we don't do that. So they take that out, and you rob your loyal fan base of everything we love your games for. What? I'll tell you what, note to game developers, don't do that. Just stop it. Stop catering to the crybabies. Just don't do that anymore. And I don't know how this turned into a rant about that. It seemed like ranting about it more and more because, well, game developers are doing it more and more, and it scares me because I have to recreate a game once I start playing it to provide a level of challenge that makes the game interesting. And I'm not a very skilled player. I'm not the very best. You know, my KD was barely over 1.0 in Call of Duty. I mean, I'm not that good. You watch me get into some fights and stuff in my Let's Plays and stuff, and sometimes I do stupid things, but I love the game. And the more of a challenge it presents, it actually at least requires me to think and play. And then when I do beat it, especially because I'm not very skilled, then I'm like, wow, I did something. I did some, I accomplished something, which was the point of playing the game in the first place. And if you take that away from me, well, wow, you know, I mean, enough said, right? I mean, does that kind of make that point? And you know, like I say, if you have all those different games, then what you need to do is start incorporating all the different game modes into your game. Hardcore modes, nightmare modes, right? That are true hardcore and true nightmare. That are brutal. That require an extensive knowledge of the game, the skills and the builds and what works with what in order to accomplish it. And players saying, well, I put it on nightmare and I couldn't beat it by pressing a button. Well, yeah, newsflash, you're not going to until you learn the game. If you don't want to bother to learn the game, you don't get paid. No one pays you to work when it's sitting on your, well, I'll take that back. All right. You shouldn't get paid to sit on your ass. You should get paid to work, you know? And so I don't know. Anyway, rant over. Back to E3. Hopefully Bethesda will at least clear up that one issue for me today. I hope so. I want to create my own character, right? I want my little Wasteland Raider chick. This is how I play. This is my little personal hero. This is the kind of character I make that I would respect, you know, or that I would enjoy hanging out with if I was in the game world. Is my little Wasteland Raider chick going through and defeating all the odds and running around with her little machine guns and pistols, you know, raping super mutants and fully armored plasma rifle wielding government soldiers of some sort, or, you know, I mean, just the whole Fallout thing. I mean, I want that. And if you don't let me have that, if I have to play through as a certain kind of protagonist and a certain set storyline thing, and that's your way to hold my hand through parts of the game, you know what? I'll go spend my time somewhere else. I'll tell you what, right now, newsflash, Elder Scrolls Online, playing that right now, and you know, I have gotten more Oblivion feels from playing that MMO. I've already got my money's worth out of it already, just in the music and the questing. I just completed a quest involving a vampire. All right, I saved this town from this guy who was sacrificing the people of the town to his son that had become a vampire. I went to this other quest that was seemingly unrelated with a whole different storyline in a whole different guild, and guess what? It crossed over. The vampire that I was after to uncover these books was the one that made that child the vampire, and it told you why he did it and sent that child back to his town. And I was like, holy crap. It makes it relevant. It brings some unity and some synergy to the whole game world. And I'm so into that. It's not even funny. And I was like looking down my nose at that game early on. You know, I was going to get it initially when they first announced that it was coming to consoles, like, what, a year and a half ago? They held it off, delayed it, this had happened and that happened and whatever. Maybe lack of funds, maybe lack of manpower, maybe too many bugs. They couldn't figure it out, couldn't get it to work or whatever. But now that it's here, I went ahead and got it because I saw something that I thought would look cool, and I said, well, you know, I don't have a lot of money, but, you know, I don't know, just something just made me go get it. It was just something I just had to do, and oh, man. So rewarded. I have gotten so many feels. I had one quest that almost halfway drove me, well, I'd almost say it got me emotional. It had to do with some Khajiit and their father passing, and the actual, oh wow, there was some feels there. And I don't know if it was just a personal thing that I could relate to or whatever, but it was just so badass. And the music and the way it played out and how it happened, and it, gameplay wise, it plays like Skyrim. Story wise, it plays like Oblivion. And then it's an MMO. So that means the skill lines are ridiculous and the game's hard at times, and you need to have your friends in there with you to do some things. I mean, you know, I'm sure there's cheats and exploits where I can do this and I'm so overpowered that at level 50 and I can kill shit that's level 30. Whatever, I don't even want to hear it. But the bottom line is the game, the way it's designed, you almost have to have your friends, or you have to meet new people. Hey man, can I get a hand over here? Can I get some help with this? And it's beautiful. And then the music is, they've got some Oblivion music, they've got some Skyrim music, and I swear they've got some Fable 2 music in there, which was, wow, another one of my favorite games, just for whatever reason. The music was a big part of that. And I'm like, what? I mean, how much awesomeness can you just pack into one game? And I'm like, oh, and it's free to play. Now there is some, you know, of course, some in-game purchases and stuff, and there's some things behind paywalls that I don't agree with. But you know what? I don't care. The game's so badass, I can forgive that. And you know what? I'm actually willing to go buy some of it just to support the game. If a game's good enough, I will. I'll pay. I'll pay to support it because it's worth it. And so I may go buy some I don't know, cosmetic stuff, like little pets that you can have running around with you, little skeevers or scamps or mud crabs that you have following you around and stuff. Okay, that's pretty cool. And if it costs a little extra, that's fine. I'll support that. It's worth it. Game's worth it. I hope they grab some of the writers for Elder Scrolls Online and include them in Elder Scrolls 6. I hope that was their job application, that they hired those people to do some writing for them, because some of those quest lines and the dialogue are so well written, and so it's an MMO and almost everything's voice acted. It might have as much voice acting dialogue as, I don't know, Inquisition. It's crazy. I'm so impressed by it. It's amazing. Even with the downsides, the little bugs and the unplayability. Every MMO has that, and people crying about that just haven't played an MMO before, or just being whiny. Because bottom line is MMOs have problems when they're first released, and this had fewer than its share of them. Actually, on day one release, it was playable. At least on PS4, it was playable. There was a day since then where it was unplayable, and then it went down for maintenance twice. But then when it came back up, it was perfectly playable. So whatever they did worked, and that tells me they're on top of their game, and they came in and fixed that shit immediately. And that's another good sign. That was another thing I was worried about when. My first fear was when it was coming to console, was that A, they were trying to recoup some losses from PCs, and when they said it was going to be free to play, I'm like, well, that means no server maintenance on down the line. That means they'll let the game kind of fade off, kind of the way Defiance did, which was kind of a cool idea coming off the top, kind of like a Fallout Borderland MMO online type idea. It was very cool, and it just wasn't. Most of the time, it just wasn't playable. It just didn't work. The gameplay was fantastic when it worked, which was only about 10% of the time. It was a complete mess, and every time they tried to fix one thing, they broke three other things. And it was strange, because Tryon Worlds has done other successful MMOs. I don't know why they struggled so much with it, but they did. Anyway, and it was quote unquote free to play, and I'm thinking, if you don't have the money there to hire people to fix shit, then shit's not going to get fixed. Was the way I was thinking, and I was kind of feared that might happen here. But this is a quality game. If it was a single player RPG, I would, like, once again, I would be playing it, and it's all I would be playing right now. I'll just say that. All right. So if anyone wanted a recommendation on Elder Scrolls Online, that is definitely my review right there. Thumbs up all the way, both thumbs up. And I haven't even touched even probably a small percentage of the content. The game is so huge, it's ridiculous, but it's an MMO, and it's a really big MMO, so lots of stuff to do. And so the bad reviews it's got are unjustified. That's somebody who didn't pay attention to the questing, or someone who didn't love Oblivion would give that game a bad review, because I've got more Oblivion feels just in the last few days playing it than I would have even thought to ask for. So there you have it. And that's totally off subject. Here we are playing Fallout, but I'm running around doing just trivial stuff here. Want to go and clear that out. Actually, that last little room I was down there underground with those ghouls, I was thinking, I think there's another skill book in here, and there was. It's not a skill book that I really care about. I think that's for melee or unarmed, but still, it's a skill book. It's kind of cool to find that there. Alright, so we can kind of make our way, I guess, in general, off towards where Vault 108 is, I guess. See if there's some other stuff to mess around with on the way. We're kind of in free roam mode a little bit here. Like I say, I have a general goal in mind of where I want to be. I would like to eventually wind up starting the pit someday before I'm level 25, but got a ways to go to get there and do some stuff along the way. I wonder if you can get in through this. I guess not. Oh, you know what? You know what we can do? There is a raider shack over here. Raider base, whatever. Hideout. And there is a unique weapon here, as a matter of fact. Go grab this real quick. It's a combat knife called StabHappy. It's just the name makes it awesome, right? I mean, if you're going to use a combat knife, you have to use StabHappy just because, well, it's StabHappy. So anyway, I guess we can go grab this. We're not too far from that vault, actually. Right here. Just I guess southeast of us is the what is it? The National Armory, National Guard Armory. I forget what it's called. Anyway, it's where the small guns bobblehead is. I'm not gonna go get that now because that's a whole. We'll probably level once just going through that area. Even if you take the shortcut, still you're gonna have to kill a bunch of robots and stuff. But I'll have a landmark close. Oh wow. Okay, asshole. That's fine. I got some of those too. Oh wow. All right. Yeah. All right. Okay, we'll cuss this out, punk. At least I'll have a landmark close by. I like to have a fast travel spot nearby where I'm going to go. Okay, well, I think I hurt myself more than him with that. And then I can fast travel back there later. So if and when we go pick up that bobblehead, which I'm sure we will at some point, small guns will come in handy because that's actually what I'm using. In fact, and this is where my thinking would get in the way, and I'd be like, since I'm using small guns and it would come in handy, why don't I just go ahead and do that? And like I say, enough of that, and next thing you know, you're level 25 and you haven't even started on the main quest yet. Most definitely. But it would come in handy. Small guns would definitely, at some point. It's not a big an issue. Notice I'm still killing things, so it's not all that bad. Having a high gun skill really keeps your sniper scope steady. Other than that, it may raise your damage some. I think every 25 points of that particular skill raises your overall effectiveness in that skill by a certain amount. Like I think you do a set amount of extra damage, and your accuracy, or at least your wobble, with your aiming through a scope, goes down. Every 25 points of that particular gun skill or whatever. I think that's how that goes. Uh-oh. Flamethrower. Raiders sure seem to love these flamethrowers, man. But she needs to stop that. Take that. Run from me. Can't wait till I get the terrible shotgun. Actually, a bobblehead. Where the terrible shotgun is at. It's the, oh, let me think. Barter? I think it's the Barter bobblehead. Pretty sure. Evergreen Mills, one of my favorite places to go to. You can have a lot of fun there. If we go to the National Guard Armory first, and grab the experimental mini nuke launcher that launches like 5 or 7 of them at a time or something like that. You pepper the area with mini nukes. It's freaking awesome. Sometimes it's fun to have that and go to Evergreen Mills and get up on the edge of the cliff and just fire that thing off down. And it's just good. But you have to do it at night, of course. You have to do it at night. In fact, that may be a plan. We may just have to go do that. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. Evergreen Mills is, it's not necessary to go there as part of the main story, but it takes you right by there, along with like Jury Street Metro and all that. They're all right next to each other. One of the behemoth super mutant guys is right there along the way. In fact, he's right at Jury Street, I think. Jury Street, you also get sent there after completing this puzzle on these little monitors in the the History Museum, I think. Wherever you go to get the satellite dish. In the main story for Three Dog, like I said, this is also main story stuff. But there's this thing that you complete in a certain order on these terminals, and it unlocks a secret Chinese assault rifle, unique Chinese assault rifle called the Xuanlong or something. That sends you to the Jury Street Metro, and then right near there is a super mutant behemoth that you can get to spawn. And then right next to that is Evergreen Mills, and then not too far from there is one place that you need to go for the main story. Oh, we'll get to it all. We'll get to it all. Like I say, it's something I like to do a little bit earlier in the game. It doesn't really matter. The enemies will scale with you to a certain point. Enemies, as they are, don't necessarily get harder, but there's certain classes of enemy. Like, you have the Raiders, some of them give you, 5 or 10 XP, and then it goes all the way up to 50. In this case, I'm getting 75 because I'm playing on very hard, but the 50-point raiders have pretty good amount of health. They're not like a Ghoul Reaver, not anywhere near that, but still, they're higher level, and so eventually you'll meet basically all raiders of that level. When you run into a pack of them, they'll all be the higher class or higher tier raiders. And then, of course, you know, with the ghouls, you have ghouls, then you have roamers, then you have glowing ones, then you have, I guess the next one would be reavers. And then with the super mutants, it's the overlords. With rad scorpions, it's albino rad scorpions. I think mole rats don't ever rank up. Poor little guys. Poor little mole ratties. Moira Brown just wants to milk them all. But, yeah, I don't think they ever rank up. I don't think you run into a super mutant mole rat or anything. That would be kind of awesome. It'd be nice to have at least once, but no. New Vegas gave that to you. It had a unique version, like you had the legendary Deathclaw, you had the legendary Cazador. Was there a what were those little Pokemon looking things? Those little iguana things. The geckos, yeah. I don't, did they have a legendary gecko? It seems like they did have a legendary gecko. I think so. Anyway, it would have been nice to have a legendary mole rat, super mutant mole rat, whatever. That would be kind of funny. See, when I get the perforator, I can look down that scope and just lay down some lead, keep my reticle on them, and see, I enjoy that gameplay. That's the combat aspect of it that I really enjoy. Okay, and I guess we've run into Robot Central here. One of the viewers brought up in another video that there is a sniper rifle hidden right at the very beginning of the game by Megaton. Apparently there's 3 trees with a rock in the middle of them, or something. It's like a hidden rock, kind of like those rocks that you see all over the place in New Vegas, that type of thing. But it's like a stash rock or something. And I wouldn't doubt it being Fallout 3 that there's probably a story behind that rock too. Like it's pertains to a particular NPC or something like that. I wouldn't doubt it. But anyway, somebody was telling me about that, and it's something I didn't know about. Usually the first sniper rifle I get is off of Arkansas's body in Minefield, which is something I usually do early in the game anyway. But I think next time I play, if I think about it, I'll go looking for that stash rock. Maybe when I stream this, just to see. It's cool, but kudos for pointing out that. Play through this game 1,000 times and learn something new every time. I mean, seriously. I still haven't seen this whole game world. I'm sure I haven't explored every corner. And some places that I have explored years ago, I've forgotten about, and so it's be like new when I go there again anyway. And how amazing is that? And this is a game world I don't get tired of exploring. Between the ambient music in the background and the whole look and feel of the place, the day-night cycle, the wasteland environment. See, all these buildings haven't been destroyed, and okay, this is different than an empty desert, because I'm telling you, a desert before and after the bombs looks like just what it is. It's a friggin' desert, okay? But in this, this is a historical place that has some nostalgia and has some relevance, at least to anyone living in the States, as this is the nation's capital. So these are places you hear about in the history books. If you've ever visited Washington, D.C., to see these places, to look at, the places that the forefathers established and this and that and blah, blah, blah. These are places that exist, at least to some extent, Now, these aren't photorealistic copies of Washington, D.C. This is the Fallout 3 version. This is the Fallout 3 universe, but it's taken from something that has some real relevance to it. And then they basically destroyed it. And that in and of itself sets a tone for the game, right? And wow, it does seem like I'm knocking New Vegas a lot, doesn't it? In comparison to this game, I think one of the things I value the most is one of the things that is most glaringly lacking in New Vegas. Is that fair to say? That New Vegas, for the qualities that it does have, is a fun game to play. But this, and the whole tone that is set from the beginning, starting out at birth, right, and then waking up in the vault, and then having your eyes open to the wasteland and the harsh reality of the wasteland, and then getting attacked as soon as you basically step out by probably just a mole rat or something. But I'm just saying, is that now you're out on your own, and that whole feeling of you're by yourself, and I mean, you're even, you know, you're the lone wanderer, and I mean, wow, getting that across just in the way the game plays out, that's amazing, right? And that kind of magic right there in the writing, well, like I say, that was in place in Oblivion too, and it's no coincidence that the exact same team of writers, well, not exact, but basically the same team of writers was involved with both games. That's something I hope we find is going to be present to some extent in Fallout 4, that they take the same amount of care and effort in the story itself as they do in, you know, the graphics and the combat mechanics and, you know, all the things that make the game fun to play. But what's gonna draw me into the world and keep me? What's gonna take me by the short hairs and hold me there, right? That's what I want to see. And hopefully I'll get some insight as to if they're really going to provide that tonight on this broadcast. In fact, as soon as this game starts uploading to YouTube, I'll probably open my Twitch window and get on Bethesda and get ready. Guess we got a gas station there. Old school gas stations, looking forward to the future, showing the rockets. And the technology that led everybody to, well, kill each other. That's essentially all that boiled down to. At what point does progress stop being progress and actually become a detriment rather than an advance in society? That's another question they present here. You notice a lot of the places you go into, everywhere, where it's technology run amok. Advancement gone awry, where what was designed to help did nothing but hurt, you know? Or it was, you know, inevitably used the wrong way. Anyway. Okay, now up here, this is a cool little landmark. We're not too far from the National Guard Armory place, wherever that Small Guns Bobblehead is. Also, this particular subway entrance right here leads to eventually the area where one of the super mutant behemoths is. I forget what it's called. There's a name for it, particular area, but it's kind of all off by itself. If you're going for the trophy or the achievement for killing all the behemoths, you'd have to get this one. It's a particular area. I don't know, once you get down into the subway tunnel, it tells you the name of the place. But anyway, you just kind of follow it out. You're going to fight just a shit ton of Mirelurks along the way. And then when you come out, you wind up in that area, and then you'll see a bunch of Talon Company mercs and super mutants fighting each other. And you work your way down the street, and it can be kind of hard. There's a lot of mutants and a lot of mercs there. It's kind of like a own little... Well, there's not really a quest there, per se. But it is its own little side area. Maybe I'll think of the name of that place. If you can't tell, for anyone who's familiar with my Let's Plays, I'm so bad with names, I should just not even try. I should just not even bother, honestly. But, whatever. Yeah, I think we got an asshole with a missile launcher over here. Yeah, we do. I'm glad I wasn't anywhere near that. That wouldn't have felt real good. Just die, dude. Damn. See, he's worth 45, so he would have been worth 30, for example. He's kind of a mid-tier raider. This guy over here is probably going to be one of those 75s. Okay, but you just keep shooting at the wall, asshole. Yeah, my freaking shotgun's broken. Well, that's awesome. How about I get it? Well, I guess I'm not going to be punching him in his face either, am I? Alright, well, that didn't work. Walk up with your bare fist to a missile launcher fight. Okay, stupid! Nope, he's just the normal one. Alright. Maybe we'll get just a little bit of a dose of 3 Dog here. for a minute. Maybe just a little dose. I'm really, really sorry to not include GNR radio in this. I'm keeping it off on my Pip-Boy. I normally never turn it off in the game. It's with me at all times. It's like my companion, especially down in the creepy, dark subways. Okay? Having that on, sometimes you become Rambo with your Pip-Boy on as soon as you turn it off and you're all quiet down there with the ghouls in the dark and the dripping blood from the ceilings and all that crap. It becomes, it becomes a little too much. Sometimes I have to turn the Pip-Boy on. Yeah, I'm not scared of the dark at all, turning Pip-Boy on, cranking it all the way up, right? Keep a kind of a companion down there. But anyway, I'm sorry I don't include that, but I don't have rights to any of the real old school music that they play on that. And it definitely sets the tone. It adds to the game 100%. I'm totally down with it. But not having rights, I can get my videos pulled, and stuff for including music that I don't own. And that's fair. I'm actually not going to go on a rant about that because I didn't make that music or publish it or distribute it, and it's not my livelihood, that surrounding that music. It's theirs. And so that's totally fair. I don't have the rights to use it. I kind of wish I did. I kind of wish I had a license for all of the Fallout music so I could include that to make the videos a whole lot. I think it would be better. The gameplay experience I think is a lot better with Three Dog butting in every once in a while to give you the latest news on the Wasteland, even if it doesn't make sense sometimes. It doesn't matter. It's just one more piece to the puzzle. Missing that makes it a little empty. I agree. Sorry about that, guys. Anyway, there's really nothing I can do about it. If you'll notice on a couple of my New Vegas videos, just to keep them up, I literally had to go delete the music that was on them. There's this one function they have on YouTube for us to put up videos where you can go in and delete a track, and basically, there may be some dialogue over the top of it, but you take away the sound underneath, and it can kind of garble up some of the other audio also. But it's either that or lose the video altogether or whatever. And I have a couple other that were claimed by people. The people that own the rights, I think one or two of my New Vegas videos, they just basically, they own them. And, it's my work, they own them, and some people would cry about that, but it wasn't my music to use. That's totally fair that they let me keep the videos up so you guys can keep enjoying them. Well, okay. It doesn't go to me, it goes to that. That's fine. That's cool. It's all fair. I mean, I'm glad, they could have been pissy about it and said, and throw a copyright strike and maybe even get my channel taken down or something if they just wanted to, be an ass about it. But they weren't trying to do that. But at the same point, they can't just give me a blank license to use their stuff for free. Okay. I'm not even going to argue with it in no way, shape, or form. That's totally cool. So, like I said, I'm just glad they let me keep the series intact, because I think one of the videos was like the first one, the very first one, and then one later on, like, I don't know, number like 10 or 12 or something. I don't remember. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's all fair. Like I said, I'm just glad they let me use their games to do the gameplay and stuff. I mean, that in and of itself is cool. And if nothing else, I can honestly say, not to overly pat myself on the back, but I can honestly say that I do promote their games when I play them. Like the games that I choose to play, I'm a really big fan of these games, and I like to cover as much as I can with my limited ability the ins and outs of that game, to say, hey, this is rewarding here. This is an amazing experience. That's what I try to share. That's the reason I try to share. The games that I pick to do Let's Plays on are the ones that I'm passionate about. I've had some games suggested, and I know for the views, quote unquote, for the views to get some, what would you say, false inflating to my view count and stuff, maybe even subscriber base to my channel, at least for the short term. A few games have been suggested, like The Witcher 3, for example. Well, why don't you play that? And I'm not feeling it. And maybe if I do get my hands on it, I've only got so much money and time to go around. I've already spent 23 of the hours in the day doing this, and I have 1 hour left to sleep and eat and, take a shower, type of thing. So there's only so many hours. I mean, there's lots of games that I'd probably like to at least take a look at. Some that I haven't, some that I would like to spend time in, but blah, blah, blah. And like I say, what am I passionate about? What can I not miss? And for the last year and a half so far, I've done games that I'm really passionate about that I've done. Other than Inquisition, which was a a recent release, right? Other than that, it's a lot of the older games, and these are the ones that I pass along not only a knowledge but a love for. Even where I don't know, like some of you guys, you bring up things all the time that I've missed or that I didn't know about, or you make suggestions. You say, hey, why don't you try this? Or, oh, wow, when you do that, I normally do this type thing, and it's nice to see something different, and that type of stuff. And that's what the comment section and you guys interacting with the channel is all about. But these are the games that I can share something with you guys that I really have a love for. Even if I don't have all the knowledge about it, it's not so much that. Not everything's a tutorial. If I pass along a tutorial, it's just that. It's a build that from firsthand experience I know that works and I found effective and maybe brings up a few points that some people might not think about in the game, which came along in passing or just from extensive gameplay. From playing a lot, I found that maybe things that don't seem to make sense on the surface, after a lot of playing and a lot of hindsight, I'll give you a perfect example in the Fallout vids. Intelligence. Well, why didn't you put your intelligence at 9? Because skill points, believe it or not, are almost irrelevant. Whether I get 15 when I level or 20 doesn't really matter. Once I hit level 20, I'm kind of just dumping points into whatever anyway. So why bother? Why not put those points in other things that make my build more effective, that make me, more survivable, that give me a little extra damage, that make, other things easier or better or more functional and give me more well-rounded character, rather than dump everything to skill points because I need to get my gun skill to 100 before I'm level 5. No, I really don't. I'm really not that worried about it. In fact, to be honest, I would put my intelligence at 1 if it weren't for particular perks that I want. And that's really the only reason you see me put it at 3. The only reason. But, here you have it. All right, and so here we have made a beeline towards it, and I was right. There it is, Vault 108. Gary! And I think I babbled long enough on this one. I think we'll get started on that on the next one. Thanks you guys for watching. Enjoy the Bethesda E3 showcase tonight, and give me your thoughts on it later on in the comment section. All right, y'all take care. Until later. Bye-bye.